Coming to you direct from Silencer Shop Studios, home of the Glass Case of Emotion.
SilencerShop.com, the easiest way to buy silencers online, period.
Stand by for education, enlightenment, enjoyment, and entertainment.
He's not here to talk about your feelings. He's not here to say what you want to hear. He's here to say what needs to be said.
Ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages, please welcome your host, the pimp hand of America, Professor Paul Markel.
Welcome to Wednesday. Welcome to Student of the Gun Radio. Welcome to our world. Yeah, this is our world. And you're welcome. Welcome into it. And I am sitting inside of the glass case of emotion. You can hear it. Got good glass in here. And Jared's sitting on the outside, but that's okay because he's very, very studiously working the board with his crooked glasses this morning. Why does he have crooked glasses, you might ask? You remember the story of Ralphie and the Daisy Red Ryder BB gun? And nothing brings such swift retribution on a kid as a pair of busted glasses. Do they, Ralphie? Or does it, Ralphie?
Yes.
No, before you get all concerned, Jared did not take a BB to the face. So it's okay. It's all right.
Not this time.
Not this time. Not this time. But it is Wednesday. It's the middle of the week. We hope that you guys are having a good week out there in the Student of the Gun listening audience. Congratulations. Oh, maybe I shouldn't say it. Did Nick confirm?
Yes.
Okay. Congratulations to Nick Ellis. Nick Ellis is the second winner of an Ox coffee maker, the Ox Beyond Rugged coffee box, the big yellow-green, kind of green-yellow with a black roof, a black top coffee maker. It's Beyond Rugged. And he won that because he paid attention and he actually watched a video. You know, I have a sneaking suspicion that somebody probably sent him a note and said, hey, dude, they just said your name on this. You probably should jump over there.
Yeah, you might want to go over there. Well, I don't know. If I was somebody else, I probably wouldn't say anything.
Yeah, don't say anything.
Like, wait 24 hours and
because
then tell them.
If we don't tell them, then they'll pick somebody else like they did last time.
Yeah.
So there's that.
No, his coffee box is on his way. I got confirmation from the people at Ox. So
wow, that was quick.
if you want to check out the Ox box, go to ox.com, oxx.com.
oxx.com.
We also have a promo code for you guys. Let me pull up my email real quick. I don't remember if we have a public one. I know we do have a grad program.
For a grad program, I know we have a grad program one. And we have grad program promo codes for SWAT Fuel, Ox Beyond Rugged, and Tough Products, right?
Yes.
Okay. So grad program people can get discounts on all that stuff. Do you have it over there?
Almost. I know we have one, but I just don't remember.
Okay, you go ahead and look it up. And while you're looking it up, did you guys look at the article that I did this week on Monday? The home invasion article. It was actually a follow-up to what we did on Friday, because I know some people read, some people listen, some people watch. Not everybody does all of them. I know some of you guys out there do it all, but we're trying to reach as broad of an audience as possible. And sometimes it's easier for people just to share an article because if their friends or family or what have you will see it. Or maybe you are one of those guys or girls out there that you're hammering the drum and you're trying to convince your wife, your friend, your neighbor, your uncles, your aunts, whatever, people that you care about. You're trying to convince them to save their own lives or to take steps to save their own lives. They won't listen to you because you are not the expert in their eyes. You're just a knucklehead. Okay, cool. You can send them this or that. There's a bug in here. What the?
Do you have your salt shooter?
No, the salt shooter's out there.
How about your other thingy?
No, it's crazy. A freaking bug just flew in my face. What's going on with that? But anyway, the article's up. It's called Home Invasion, Where Should You Secure Your Gun? And we offered several suggestions. I offered several suggestions. And as you guys probably know, one of the things that I suggest is actually carrying a gun on your body. I know. You're like, what? Carrying it on me? Like actually in a holster on me? Yeah. Yeah. That way you always know where it is and it's always secured. If you're worried about, your gun, your handgun, your personal defense gun, if you're worried about it being, secured away from people who shouldn't have access to it. You know what a great way to do that? Put it on your body. That way you always know where it is. You are in control of it. And if you need it, you can use it. Now, what about when you're sleeping? A cool thing that Crossbreed Holsters does is they make these things called the OHAI. OHAI. I don't know if that's like a Hawaiian, it's a Hawaiian word for gun pocket. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being ignorant. But they make this thing. It's called the OHAI gun pocket, and it fits your gun, but it has a Velcro back. It has the hard Velcro backing, so you can secure it to anything. How many of you guys have either those fanny pack things or gun bags or briefcases or anything that's lined with soft-sided Velcro? Well, you can take that and you can secure it there. And they have this cool thing called the bedside backup. So what I can do is, let's say I'm wearing my pistol and I'm getting ready for bed. I take the pistol out of the holster and I can slip it into the bedside backup. And I can lay down and lay my little head down and snooze. And then I can wake up. I can get dressed. I can pull it out of the bedside backup, put it into the Super Tuck Deluxe, and drive on. And I have a G-lock, as you guys may have seen. And you say, well, where's that G-lock at, Paul? Well, it's always one of two places. It's either in the bedside backup or it's attached to me. So I always know. I never have to play the where's your gun game. Now, I'll give you this, okay? That's a holster is not a secured locking mechanism. It's not something that you can lock up and hide from people. And I got that. Now, in my house, everybody in my house knows gun safety. And my kids are so, overexposed and bored with guns, I don't have to worry about them. Matter of fact, they don't need to come to my room and find guns because they have guns in their own rooms. So that's that takes care of that. But if that's not a viable option for you, there are other things. But we tried to make some suggestions out there for all the new and old gun owners. All right, let's talk about our friends at Frog Lube. It's green. It's minty fresh. It's extreme. And it works. It just works. Check them out at froglube.com, or you can go to Brownells and you can buy it there. All right, lastly in this one is our friends at Century Arms, the makers of the TP9SA and the TP9SF and the TP9 SFX, which is their new super cool race gun that you can put an optic on. You can check out everything at centuryarms.com. Now, it's Wednesday. It is Wednesday. It's Wednesday as we're releasing this, and what does that mean to you? Well, it means you're going to get to move it a little bit, doesn't it, Jared?
Fantastic, big body ocean at the big Titanic, woman and ice, sweet, energetic, big body ocean at the big Titanic, woman and ice, sweet, fantastic, big body ocean at the big Titanic, woman and ice, sweet, fantastic.
And if you need some help moving it, I recommend picking up some SWAT fuel. You can go to SWATfuelstore.com, use the promo code SOTG2015, and save yourself some money on the SWAT fuel. Now, as we've mentioned before, if you're a grad program member, go to the partner discount page on the radio site, and it'll help you save a little bit more money that actually pays for your grad program membership. Now, today's topic for SWAT Fuel Fitness Talk, I want to talk a little bit about producing instead of saving, or actually I came up with a thing that I want to talk about here. Producing.
I'm reading the notes and I'm like, what?
Producing instead of saving or redistributing. All right, so let's talk about money. A lot of people, all they do their entire life is focus on, I need to save this money. I need to save this money. I need to save this amount of money. I have a question for you. If you have the ability to produce money when you need it, is that more important than focusing on the negative part, which would be saving? Or in fitness, if you focus on, I need to not eat this, I need to not do this, you're focusing on the negative aspect. And I challenge you to start focusing on the positive aspect, which would be, I need to add this to my food. I need to add this to my regimen. And by adding something, you're as a result of adding, you're going to have to subtract something. Now, what I was talking about the redistributing here, I was listening to the radio show. I think it was our radio show. Maybe it was E.J. Owens. He's talking about somebody said redistribution of wealth. And I was
probably
thinking,
E.J.
Yeah. And we were talking about, or he was talking about that. And it made me think that instead of all these politicians now are focusing on, how can we make the poor more equal to the rich? Because that's what we have to do. Instead of redistributing the wealth or redistributing the money that's already there, why don't we focus on producing new money and actually rewarding the people that find new ways to produce new money rather than punishing them for that?
Attention, new listeners. We produced a free training video series called 7 Training Tips That Could Save Your Life. We want you to have access to this life-saving information. Get instant access now at studentofthegun.com. Do you watch Student of the Gun TV, read the blog, and follow us on Facebook? If you answered no to any of those questions, you are wrong, but you can easily fix yourself. Go to studentofthegun.com to find everything SOTG.
Do you notice how some of our listeners, they got hip, they got smart? They went to EJ's show, the E.J. Owens show, and they're like, hey, that little girl that's on the E.J. Owens show, she sounds familiar.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, it is. It's kind of crazy. If you've been listening to our friend E.J. Owens' radio show, and he has a podcast now, thanks to Jared, if you listen to that, you're like, man, that little girl on there sounds very, very familiar. There is a reason for that. There's a reason that little girl sounds very, very familiar, because it is our own Alex. Now, I was talking to my friend Shane Iverson. How many of you guys have been with us long enough to remember the interview that we did with my friend Shane Iverson? He's a U.S. Army retired Special Forces, and now he's running a school. He's running a school out of Texas called CSAT MTT. That's the Combat Shooting and Tactics Mobile Training Team. And I was talking to Shane yesterday, and he said, hey, I'm going to come down to the Gulf Coast, and I'm going to do a class down in your area. I said, well, that is very cool, and I will tell people about it. And he's finalizing the dates and the times right now, and that is cool, and we will tell you all the exact rigmarole. But if you're interested in doing some firearms training, whether it's in Texas or anywhere else, now I know that Shane's got a range outside of Dallas. I haven't been to the one outside of Dallas, but I know it's there. I've seen pictures. So if you're interested in getting some firearms training from a good friend of ours, go to CSAT MTT. That's Charlie, Sierra, Alpha, Tango, Mike, Tango, Tango. Do you think I just confused them, Jared, by using the phonetic alphabet?
I think most of our listeners get it.
Do you get it? Do you get the phonetic alphabet? If you don't, then you need to hip yourself, and you need to get up to speed on the phonetic alphabet. All right. Brownells at brownells.com. If you got a gun, they've got something for you, and I know they've got some Frog Lube on their calendar, in their catalog. How's that sound? I knew it had a C in it. And Duracoat, because life is too short to have an ugly gun. All right, this first story is, well, it's kind of the height of insanity. See if you can follow along with me here. And it comes from the NewYorkPost.com. A friend of mine, actually, he forwarded this on to me, and he said that NYPD was very concerned that their pistol ammo failed, that it didn't do what it was supposed to do. And I was like, well, I better, when New York PD, when they buy something, then that people get all excited and are like, well, if the NYPD's using this tool or product or whatever, then it must be good enough for me. So let's find out what exactly is going on. It says the title of the story is NYPD checking ammo after knife wielder's jacket stops cops' bullets. Wow. This must be a big story because it was written by 3 separate people: Jamie Schramm, Larry Salona, and Philip Messing. Now, the story actually goes all the way back to May 19th, all the way back, a couple of weeks ago. But apparently, in New York, somebody went on a stabbing and slashing spree because That seems to happen a lot in New York here lately, and it's probably the American gun owners' fault that that's happening. But other than that, it says 4 of the shots that cops fired at a madman waving a knife in Midtown failed to penetrate his jacket, which was not bulletproof. And the NYPD will now check the weapons for malfunction, law enforcement told the Post. I know most of you hip cats out there listening, you're like, did Paul just say what I think he just said? Let's go ahead and reread that, because it kind of made my brain swell and hurt a little bit the first time I saw it. It says, 4 of the shots that cops fired at a madman waving a knife in Midtown failed to penetrate his jacket, which was not bulletproof. And the NYPD will now check the weapons for malfunction, law enforcement sources told the Post. Are they trying to tell us that they think there's something wrong with the gun? Now, if the rounds hit the bad man, I don't care how far in they went or didn't go, if they hit the bad man, it sounds like the guns were working. Doesn't that sound like the guns were working to you, Jared?
Yeah, it sounds like they were working to me.
It sounds like they went pop, 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 or bang, 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 or whatever NYPD guns do. I don't think it's a problem with the guns. And do the people at the Post know what a malfunction is, Jared? I really don't think.
Apparently not.
I don't think they do. It says, the bullet... Here we go. It gets better, folks. It says, quote, the bullets we have may be defective, and that's very disturbing, one source said. When we fire our weapons, we want to make damn sure that our bullets hit our target, neutralizing our target. Do you find that kind of humorous that a source within NYPD said the words, when we fire our weapons, we want to make damn sure our bullets hit our target? Or whoever happens to be standing around on the street, because you shouldn't ought to have been there. And then when we do put bullets into people that was just standing around on the street by the Empire State Building, then they sue the city. The city will get the courts to say that the NYPD is, quote, not financially responsible for shooting them. Do you guys remember that? And it didn't happen just once. It happened multiple times. NYPD officers ventilated numerous bystanders. And then when the bystanders had the gall to complain, they had was it the New York Supreme Court said that they were not responsible, and they could just, I guess, just suck it. I don't know. Oh, come on, Paul, come on now. This is a sergeant and an officer fired a total of 9 rounds at 46-year-old Gary Conrad on Wednesday.
If you can't do it with 6, you can't do it at all.
Yeah, I thought if you couldn't do it 4 or 5 or 5 or 6, it couldn't be done. Heck, if you go to that one special gun shop that we've been to, the guy behind the counter will tell you if you can't do it with the first 2, it probably can't be done. So don't worry about how many rounds you have. Fired a total of 9 rounds at 46-year-old Gary Conrad on Wednesday. This is, of course, Wednesday before the story. And with one of the shots killing the depressed Broadway stagehand who had refused to drop the blade on West 49th Street and 8th Avenue. 4 of the bullets got lodged in Conrad's Carhartt jacket, sources said, adding that he was not wearing a bulletproof vest. Well, I'm glad that they added that. Another shot grazed the wrist of a bystander, Lauren Code, a 46-year-old lingerie designer from California. And Lauren, just take your lumps and go back to California, because if you sue the city's attorney is going to tie it up in court, and they're just going to tell you you shouldn't have been standing there. That's how it works. Sources said the incident does not appear to be a pattern, but But the 9mm guns used by officers were going to be checked for malfunctions. That is the second time in the story that they've told us that they're going to check the guns for malfunctions. Now, Jared, the first time they did that, I was willing to say, maybe they just don't know what the hell they're talking about. Then the second time, I'm going to say that there's something's not stirring the Kool-Aid over there. John Serrar, a retired NYPD deputy inspector who headed the department's tactics and firearms section from 1985 to 1994, said the incident was difficult to fathom. I have not heard anything like this. There would be no reason for it, Serrar said. There would have to be some kind of defect. I would certainly look at the ammunition. Now, all of you hip gun dudes out there in the audience, how can ammunition go bad? Well, there are lots of ways that ammunition can go bad. Primarily, ammunition goes bad when the primers are fouled somehow. Let's say you open up the cylinder on your Smith & Wesson Model 10 and you just hose the gun down with WD-40 and then close the cylinder back up and stick it back in your holster. That can ruin the primers. And you give me that look like, are you saying that's a hypothetical, or are you saying that the human animal at one point in time did that? Yeah, there were some human animals that actually did that at one point in time that thought, well, I don't want my gun to rust up, so I'll just swing the cylinder out and I'll spray it down with WD-40 and put it back together and we'll be good to go. What else can ruin primers, Jared? Solvents and petroleum-based gun oil. Do you guys know that? You're like, what? Yeah. That's why when the cleaning instructions for your firearms going back, 30, 40 years or so, will tell you when you're going to clean a gun with solvents and oils that you should take the ammunition and put it far away from the oils and the solvents, because petroleum-based product, especially, barrel solvent and so forth, if it gets on the primers, it can ruin them. But here's the thing. If the primer gets ruined, what happens to the cartridge? Doesn't go bang, right? It's just this, dead piece of lead and copper and brass and what have you. Now, what would cause bullets to go slow, super slow, like so slow that they would just come out of the gun and hit the jacket? Well, if they were really, really old, okay, the powder might go bad. I can't imagine NYPD having like super old ammunition in their guns, but then again, I don't know what their protocols are. Oh, I've shot ammunition that was 10, 20, 30. I shot ammunition that was 50 years old, and it went pop, 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 bang, 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 like it was supposed to. So I don't really, I can see them checking the checking the guns for malfunction. Maybe their guns malfunction. Maybe the guns didn't make the bullets go fast enough. What do you think, Jared? Do you know there are people in this world that think that the gun determines how fast the bullet goes?
Oh, really?
Oh my God. It's like we're checking the. Here, you want to know the truth of it? Carhartt jackets are really tough, especially the real thick insulated ones. Carhartt jackets are really tough. And if somebody is moving and twisting around, there have been people shot with leather jackets, denim jackets like this, like Carhartt jackets, work jackets, where the bullets have gone in and they've gone through and basically hit the person's skin and stopped. They're pistol bullets, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm not sure what type of load the NYPD is using here, but let me tell you something. We've gotten really, as a society, we're so afraid, and when I say society, I mean gun culture, not like the regular sheep type people. They don't understand or know. They think that when a bullet doesn't kill someone, it's because the gun malfunctioned. We are so scared of the over-penetration boogeyman in the world that we've asked ammunition companies, we go to ammunition companies, we're like, here's what we want. We want a magic bullet. We want a magic bullet that will go into every bad guy, stay inside the bad guy, but not under-penetrate, but not over-penetrate. We want it to go in, go just far enough to do enough damage. We want it to open up, expand, and we want one single bullet from a handgun to take down every bad guy we encounter, regardless. That's what we want. We want a magic bullet. And to their credit, Federal and Winchester, CCI, Remington, you name it, Speer, Nosler, go down the list, what have you, Barnes. They've all been trying really, really hard to make the magic bullets that American law enforcement wants. But the truth of the matter is, folks, talk to any hunter. Talk to anybody who's ever killed anything living, whether it's a deer or a hog or a lion or a giraffe or a zebra or a gorilla in a zoo. Talk to anybody who's ever killed anything living, and they will tell you that there are no guarantees in the world. And it's all about bullet placement. And then talk to people about handguns. This is not new science here, and I can't believe that the NYPD, who's been shooting people for 150 years or however long there's been an NYPD, that they're like super shocked and at dismay. Okay, the thing is though, Jared, did the crazed guy with the knife, did he expire on the scene? Well, it looks to me from the story that he did, right? Well, yeah, but we want to make sure that every damn bullet we fire hits our target and neutralizes it. I'm sorry. When we fire weapons, we want to make damn sure that our bullets hit our target, neutralizing our target. Okay. Well, then you better get rifles, because handguns aren't that damn powerful, dude. Well, why do we carry them then? Well, because it's a lot easier than toting rifles around. That's why. We carry handguns for convenience. We don't carry handguns because they're the most super powerful death-dealing machines on planet Earth, because they're not. And sometimes bad guys are super excited about being bad guys, and they don't want to stop. And they just keep going and doing bad stuff. And a lot of times, they're moving around. Matter of fact, most of the time, they're moving around. And when you shoot at them, you think, man, did I hit him or not? Do you know that there have been bad guys shot? And good guys, too. But there have been humans that have been shot. And they just keep on going. We've shared this with you. Dude, John Farnham, Jared, you remember the advice from Farnham about what do bad guys do after you shoot them with a handgun?
Yeah, the same thing that they did before. Same
thing they were doing before you shot them with a handgun? John Farnham offered that piece of advice to me 30 years ago in 1986 when I took his class. He said that. And he wasn't being glib. He was being factual. And the reason he said it was because he wanted it to be burned in our little young brains, and I had a young brain back then, believe it or not, that handguns are not magical, and that sometimes you need to rinse, lather, repeat in order to get the effect you need. But apparently that lesson didn't get passed down to the New York Police Department. And I'm surprised that they only fired 9 shots between the two of them, because I got to assume that they probably had like 45 rounds at least on each person.
Yeah. I don't know. And I'm surprised that they hit as many times as they did, because usually
that's actually pretty good.
Yeah. They spend usually they're like, I don't know.
Like 10%, 15% hit ratio. Yeah. So they fired 9 shots, and, well, it says 4 of them were stopped by the jacket. One of them hit young Lauren Code, a 46-year-old lingerie designer from California. But other than that, there weren't any other civilian casualties reported. So, hey, I mean, that's a pretty good success rate. But apparently this was a big enough issue that they decided to go ahead and do an entire feature story about it and how concerned they are. And I don't really know what to tell them. What are they going to do? Go to 10 millimeter? They're going to go back to 45s. We know that's not going to happen. Because 10 millimeters and 45s are big guns. They're large frame guns, and the FBI tried that. The FBI tried that 30 years ago. 30 years ago, when a 9 millimeter bullet, quote unquote, failed to do its job. Ladies and gentlemen, do you realize that we've been searching for the magic bullet now for at least 30 years? I'm sure we were searching for magic bullets before then. But the FBI, they got us on the magic bullet track 30 plus years ago when a single 9 millimeter bullet from a Winchester Silvertip failed to do its job. It did exactly what it was supposed to. It's a freaking handgun bullet. It went through his arm, into his chest cavity, and stopped right at his heart. It's a pistol. And the FBI threw the majority of the blame at the feet of Winchester Ammunition and almost bankrupt Winchester. They screwed Winchester hard. That's why Winchester was so they were so willing to get in bed with Smith & Wesson and come up with this new 40 Smith & Wesson cartridge, because they needed a shot in the arm. Because the FBI basically told the whole United States law enforcement community that Winchester Silvertip hollow point ammunition, and it wasn't actually made out of sterling silver. I know some people think maybe they you know what, Jared? Maybe that was their problem. Maybe they didn't put enough sterling silver in the Silvertip hollow points. Maybe if they'd have done that, it would have been better. But ladies and gentlemen, the reason I wanted to bring this story up to you guys is this, because I know a lot of you out there in the listening audience are gun carriers. I know a lot of you have pistols on you right now, and go team, good job. Stop searching for magic bullets. Handgun bullets are not magical. Sometimes handgun bullets don't stop people immediately. Sometimes you need to rinse, lather, repeat, and keep doing it until you get effect. Instead of searching for magic bullets, why don't you search for magic talents? Why don't you get your butt out onto the range and get some training, then practice until you can't miss your target. Not until you can hit your target. Practice until you can't miss it. All right, I had one other story that I wanted to talk about, and we've got a few minutes left, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. And the reason I brought it up was because in typical fashion, we have a person who died, and there was an animal involved. All right, Australian surfer Ben Gearing dies in hospital 3 days after shark attack. Now, that is a strange part of it, and I don't know why this is, but I can guess. I can give you an educated guess. He was attacked. Ben Gearing, the Australian surfer, who was was in critical condition after losing half of his right leg in a shark attack, died in the hospital Friday night. And the source for this is ibtimes.co.uk. And this is a surfer was reportedly attacked by a great white shark while surfing off of the Falcon Bay beach in Mandurah in Western Australia. Okay. The beach was closed following the accident on Tuesday, May 31st. It's not really an accident. When a shark attacks you and, like, rips half your leg off, it wasn't like the shark's like, oops, was that your leg? It was kind of an on-purpose thing by the shark, but whatever. And reports emerged that a great white shark was seen in the waters. Authorities reportedly caught a 4.2-meter-long great white shark. Now, for you people who use the English, you're just going to have to do the conversion. But let's go ahead.
4.5 yards.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and agree that a 4.2-meter shark is a pretty substantial animal. It's a pretty substantial fish, don't you think? I mean, basically 4.2 meters would be from the glass case of Motion to that wall.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good-sized fishy, right? So they got one. They go out there in the area where the shark's operating, and if you watch Jaws, you'll know that they're solitary predators. I don't know if they are or not, but I watched Jaws a long time ago. Says, but could not confirm it was the shark responsible for the fatal attack. Fisheries Australia issued a statement after capturing the shark that it was caught because it fitted the criteria of a hazardous shark, but not because it was thought to have been responsible for the attack on Goering.
Oh, I see what they're saying, like that specific shark.
Yeah.
Okay.
It fitted the description. Seriously, folks, it says fitted in here.
It fitted the criteria.
It fitted the criteria. It didn't fit the criteria. It fitted the criteria.
Did it fit it very neatly? Or?
Maybe it liked fitness. I don't know. I can only suppose that the shark liked fitness. But, however, here we go. You know things are about to get interesting when they say however or but. Lynn McLaren, the W.A. Greens MP, military police? No, that's when you're down under, it's MP stands for Member of Parliament, criticized Fisheries Australia for, this is the nut right here. Lynn McLaren, and I'm assuming that Lynn is a chick, criticized Fisheries Australia for not conducting a formal autopsy on the shark before killing it. Boom! There it is. There is your stupid statement of the day. When I found this story, I said to Zachary, Zach, what's an autopsy? He said, it's when you perform an operation to determine how and why somebody died. I said, Zach, when do you do an autopsy? He said, when the patient's dead. I said, okay, thank you very much, my 18-year-old son. Or is he 19 now? He's 19 now. Holy crap. So Lynn McLaren wanted them to conduct a formal autopsy on the shark before they killed it. The Guardian quoted McLaren as telling RTR-FM, Jared, do you notice how many abbreviations there are in this?
Yeah, I was just looking at that.
Telling RTR-FM in Perth on Thursday that the usual procedure required them to, quote, prove if the shark was involved in that particular attack. They went out, they caught a very, very large shark, possibly a great white. Apparently, Richard Dreyfuss wasn't there to tell them whether or not it was a great white. I don't know what Richard Dreyfuss is doing right now. And the shark that was possibly in the area the day after the surfer was attacked. Bros, did she said that required them to prove? So were they going to bring the shark in for questioning? They're going to catch it. Like when you catch a shark, you catch it alive and you put it on the deck there and you're like, all right, listen up, shark. Where were you Wednesday? Not good enough. And then you get the good fishery, the good cop, bad cop, the good fisherman and the bad fisherman, and the good fisherman comes out and he offers the shark a cup of coffee and he says, hey, this is just something we got to do. And then he leaves the room and then the bad fisherman comes up and he smacks the coffee out of the shark's hand and says, where were you? How? Am I insane? Does this member of parliament want them to interview the shark? How do you get into a shark's stomach to see what it ate recently? You gonna put it in, take it to the hospital and do a gastrointestinal expirology on the shark's stomach? What the farfignugan is this chick talking about? Now, why did Goering die? Well, besides the fact that he had his leg amputated, you might say, how do you get to the hospital after a traumatic injury like this and then die 3 days later? Jared, how does that happen?
Because you lost too much blood in the first place.
Because you lost too much blood in the first place. Because you went into irreversible shock. And once your body hits irreversible shock, it doesn't matter if you still have a heartbeat when you get to the hospital. It doesn't matter if they hook you up to machines. Once your organs start to die, your organs start to die. And they can bring a 55-gallon drum of whole blood, and they can plug it into you. But if your kidneys and your liver and your internal organs, if they've checked out because of loss of blood pressure, loss of blood, no oxygenated blood made it down there. If your liver, kidneys, etc., if they check out, yeah, they can keep your heart pumping, and they can put a tube down your throat, and they can make your lungs inflate and deflate and so forth. But you're done. That might be and I'm holding my fingers out just like that. That might be why somebody who looks a lot like me and people very similar to us tell you that you should carry things like tourniquets, so that if somebody has a situation similar to this, that you can keep as much blood in them as possible, so that when someone has a massive blood loss, when they have a partial amputation or complete amputation from a rollover car crash, that they don't get to the point of irreversible shock, and that you don't have to run around looking for makeshift ways. Now, Jared, remember the shark attack was it in North Carolina, where they the doctor chick, was she a doctor or a nurse? She used a surfboard tether to make a tourniquet to save that kid's life. Folks, there's a lot of lessons here that we can learn. Number one, apparently sharks are all innocent until proven guilty in the eyes of the Australian Member of Parliament. And number two, get a tourniquet and freaking carry that thing. All right, that's it for Wednesday. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you didn't, I want you to send a self-addressed stamped envelope to Refunds at Post Office Box 405, Boulder, Colorado. Now, tomorrow on Student of the Gun, we've got a Go Team moment, lessons learned in Louisiana, right next door. And you're not going to want to miss that. And, of course, tomorrow is our Student of the Gun homeroom, brought to you by Crossbreed Holsters. So we're going to have a lot of fun, and we hope you will join us soon. Remember, you're a beginner once, but you should indeed be a student for life.